Sometimes when I find great clothes on sale, they're not quite the right size. I've found a wonderful tailor, though, who can modify these clothes so they fit me perfectly. You might think of Agile in the same way, as a family of practices that allow you to tailor your processes to meet your specific needs. The most common adaptation is in sprint length. As you know, iterations are meant to be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. This inherent ability to flex is the easiest way to tailor your Agile practice. As an example, I once worked on a team that was given a large initiative with a lot of risk and a tight timeline to bring the product to market. One of the adaptations we made to our Scrum practice was to shift their iteration length from 3 weeks to 2. Why? Well, in the face of high risk and short timelines, we needed to speed up our process of discovery. Essentially, we needed to fail faster to meet the deadline while mitigating risk. Also, it had a great psychological benefit for the team. It could be disheartening to hear the large scope of effort and knowing that we had 4 months, 16 weeks to get it done. With a 3-week sprint cadence, we had only 5 iterations. With a 2-week cadence, suddenly we had a generous feeling 8. Don't underestimate how much of a benefit that feeling can be for your team. The best part is you can pick and choose practices from across the disciplines and different Agile methodologies. So if you're using Scrum, you can still borrow practices from Extreme Programming or XP. In that same project, we did a little borrowing from XP, and this is what we did. We used pair programming on this team. 2 developers would sit at the same computer, taking turns coding and testing as code is being written. This has the benefit of having 4 eyes looking at the code, and the result, as you can imagine, is greatly improved quality. Another thing we tried on this project for the first time was test-driven development, TDD for short. TDD first looks at the user story and acceptance criteria, then immediately writes the tests that will pass the story. The developers have the advantage of an even smaller scale development process when using TDD. The tests are written, then you code, run the tests, and see which ones fail. Then you refactor your code, run all the tests, and so forth. Until all the tests pass, the story isn't complete. When we applied this practice, it forced our developers to be outcome-focused, not code-focused. The result was we ended up with much higher quality code. Another simple technique to tailor your Agile is team size. Generally, Agile teams are 5 to 9 people. This guideline, however, can be flexed. You can stretch your core team size up to about 12 by adding team members to meet your deadlines. At this number, you'll have to be a bit more diligent in making sure sufficient collaboration is taking place. If you need to expand much beyond that, you'll run into challenges with communication and team cohesiveness. What you can do at 13 and up is to build multiple dependent teams into a program. You can divide your valuable deliverables across the teams. You'll formalize the communication and integration activities of the teams by introducing the Scrum of Scrums. In Scrum of Scrums, the Scrum Master of each team meets 2 to 3 times a week to coordinate the work, provide updates, and identify dependencies. Finally, another great way to flex your Agile implementation to suit your project is by really assessing the timing of your demos. The higher the risk, the more frequently you should demo your work. Customer feedback is an essential ingredient to quality. For the team and project I've been talking about, we opted to demo every week instead of at the end of the 2-week sprint. It was very informal. We asked our stakeholders to come to our collaboration space and check out what we were working on. The advantage is that we had continuous customer feedback and buy-in on our design decisions. When using Agile practices, Take the time to really do an assessment of what the project is. Assess the practices you already have in place and then selectively tailor them to meet that specific project's need.